So yeah, this is live video 2 of the day, and the last video was just about stuff like rejection, abandonment, breakup of relationships, loss, and being rejected or abandoned by a person, or just experiencing various trauma or abuse in your life and how to deal with it. And it's about processing emotions, and this video is a continuation of that, about processing emotions and also learning from your life's experiences and moving forward instead of like going backwards, but moving forward and becoming a higher self in the physical world before we pass on. Which is okay. So I'm not going to repeat what I said in that video, but I realized I would like to add on extra in that video, and that is that for the first basically 20 years of my life, I experienced a lot. I felt very, very insecure. I experienced a lot of anxiety, and I suffered from anxiety. I suffered from feeling very alone, very insecure, very vulnerable, tender and raw emotionally. Very nothing like you see today whatsoever. I was like a scarred, wounded little child who didn't have a voice. And as a result, I clung on and to female figures, or like I tried to jump into romantic relationships really soon and too early before I even got to know the person, you know. And I didn't know it then, but I eventually learned about this pattern in my life a good few years ago, you know. And I realized this is just an unhealed part of me that's acting out unconsciously. And I'm looking for somebody to basically fulfill the role that my mom did, which was a protector or a female energy, like to make me feel less insecure or alone or vulnerable, or even like, you know, a certain degree of anxiety. Or I had a lot of fear in my life growing up as well, you know. So we do this in relationships where we cling, we attach. It's premature, or it's too soon, or it's too strong. Hi Mabel, love you, love seeing you. You're always incredible, such a noteworthy, delectable, incredible friend and supporter of mine. So thank you so much. I'd love to talk with you someday. Maybe we'll do a live chat, because I clicked the invite button, but I won't do it right now. But yeah, I used to jump into relationships too early and cling and attach, and like this happens sometimes before we get rejected or abandoned. So like, yeah, I felt obviously definite emotional rejection and abandonment, and even physical rejection or abandonment when I was young also, like especially when I was growing up, like in terms of relationships. So I've been through all of that. So my point being is, look within yourself if you're attaching or clinging, attaching emotionally to people who you're just dating, or you don't even know, or you haven't even met them yet on the internet, and look to see that the wounds or the traumas and the emotions that they bring up in you. Use people and like circumstances and events, any life experience, as a positive bonus. And like, yeah, I won't repeat what I said in the last video, because I'm actually going to put it on one video on YouTube anyway. So that's what I want to say. If you're insecure or attaching prematurely, look at this pattern in yourself and look at the way you think or hope someone else is going to fix you. No one can fix you. No one can cure you. No one can be your savior. You can't fix, cure, or save anyone else either. We can only lovingly, unconditional kindness, unconditional love, non-attached giving and kindness, non-attached caring. We can only do this for one another, to help hold each other's hand, to bring ourselves home, basically speaking, to help us self-realize that we are source energy beings of divine, unconditional kindness and love and joy. But healing has to happen first to realize and to live this, okay? So, hi Mabel, yeah, I couldn't see you, but I saw your name come up. She didn't know that I could see her. So the second thing I want to say in this video, no one can like sort of fulfill you, or like, you know, no one can be everything for you. Like sometimes, like, and this pertains to me too in the past, especially also, but not as much. But the more we fill ourselves up with like happiness, joy, and we meet our needs for social needs of friends, our needs to connect with family, potentially, for sure, that's usually a need. Our need to be of some kind of service or positive influence in the world, be it locally or globally. Our need to be valuable, our need to contribute, our need for spiritual growth, which is what I'm talking about in these videos. Yeah, the more we fulfill our needs to be happy, to get out of nature, to move our bodies, to progress, to grow, these are all needs. Our needs to, like I said, meet friends, our need to be creative, it could be knitting, our need for hobbies and interests, to intellectually to learn, to make stuff, to be productive of some kind. The less we meet our needs and wishes in life, things we find fun, happy, interesting, exciting, the more we're going to cling to someone to save us and be everything for us. And of course, that's a recipe for disaster. That's never going to work. But the more we fulfill our cup up ourselves, we won't be dependent on attaching, like, unconsciously or unhealthily for another person who we're dating or even in a relationship with. If they leave or reject us or abandon us, that's even not, they don't even determine our worthiness or our deservingness. Other people's behavior doesn't determine who we are as a divine love light joy being, or our level of worthiness. It's completely independent. Other people's behavior is a total 100% reflection of where they are in their spiritual development, their consciousness, their frequency, their vibration, and where they're at in life in terms of everything, mental, emotional, physical. It's them, it's not us. So that can't be used as a spiritual excuse to just be mean and abusive and bad and say, oh, I didn't do anything. Like, we don't mean it that way, okay? I don't mean it that way. What I said makes sense, but that's like the shadow twisting, manipulative type of way of using that. So anyone watching this probably won't be going in that line anyway. But don't let someone like you could call them a narcissist be narcissistically behavior and manipulating you to try and, like, keep you in a bad situation for long, which I covered in the first half of this video anyway. Get help when you need it. So yeah, that's the last thing I want to say. Fill yourself up and you won't be depending and attaching unhealthily to somebody else. It's really the best thing is when you're in a relationship when both people are filling themselves up and making their life complete by themselves, and two people come together to complement and add on to each other. It's a bonus. It's not a need, it's a bonus. So we don't want to need a romantic relationship right now. We want to have one as a bonus. Now, when we get into relationships from an unhealed space, we can predict a certain degree of mayhem or disturbance and hiccups and fighting or argument or emotional triggers. That it's going to happen. We're going to get triggered. That's like a splinter being plucked out of us. It's like really sore in terms of emotional detoxification, but even physical detoxification, literally getting a splinter out is big. It can be really sore. It can be an infection possibly, or a swelling, or even just like physically fasting or going on cleanses. That can be uncomfortable, but the emotional uncomfortable level of emotional rising and detoxing is, for me, is much harder and worse. So these videos and spiritual awareness and wisdom is the name of the game. It's invaluable. It's needed. You need unconditional love and kindness, like people, like in this video also, like people like that ability, and to help you, to support you, to be kind, to be loving, to listen. So that's all I really want to say. So the more you practice self-love and grow from every experience and develop wisdom, the more you grow and raise your frequency and consciousness, all of this stuff eventually, like the way I'm at now, it won't be that much of it won't be the biggest deal. No one likes a breakup, especially if you're like attached for many years or you have children and you want a family. But I'm just saying, it's 100 times worse if you're in an unhealthy space within yourself, or you have a lot of lessons. That's okay. We all have lessons. Anything can be the lesson. But if you happen to learn this lesson in many ways, which is tons of lessons in this video anyway, tons, especially the first video combined, which I'm talking about, it can be made like so much smoother, softer, easier and harmonious. But it's all about levels. Wisdom is all about levels. Relationships is all about levels. Consciousness is all about levels. It's all about levels. And there's always more levels and a deeper, more wise perspective as well, and a more unconditionally loving and unconditionally kind level as well. So yep, I've been through the mill. I've had like tons of lessons and hardship in my life. Even recently I had a really tough one for a while. But it only deepened. It put everything I know to the practice and more. And it deepened my unconditional kindness and unconditional love. And it helped resolve and bring up some of my traumas from the past too. And I looked at it and I was able to understand them and let some of those feelings go. And let go and not have to react from that space of unhealed, unconscious reactivity anymore. To respond from true, my heart, much more of unconditional love and unconditional kindness and forgiveness, and letting go of anything like resentment or blame or anger as well towards somebody, which is phenomenal. It's such a good lesson. So I am becoming my higher self in the flesh. And we will when we die, but we can do before we die, like I said in the first video. So it's better to become your higher self in the flesh, in the physical form. And that's all I want to say. So, yep. Talk to you soon. Namaste. Lots of love. Thanks for watching. You're beautiful divine beings. So go and have some fun and like heal and feel your emotions in life.